if I could wipe my memory completely clear of the entire Attitude Era, WCW and WWF, I would completely wipe my mind and remind myself to go watch those. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Chaos Reborn is back. Checking out some more wrestling content. Today we have 30 wrestlers that forgot their spots in the match. I know this is about to be funny. I know one is going to be on there. Definitely going to be that Orton one on there with Kofi. Stupid. I know that's going to be on there. But we're going to get into some of this, man. Real quick, though, the Rumble just went off. That Women's Rumble was trash. I mean, absolute garbage. The winner was probably one of the worst things I've seen in the last 5 years. Just my opinion. Don't like anything about the character. She's not that great in the ring, in my opinion. I feel like she's overrated just because of who her father is. Nepo baby. You know, disagree all you want. Let me know what you think. But it was trash. Everything else on the card was pretty good, though. I'm glad Jay won. I'm glad Punk didn't win. I'm glad Cena didn't win. Yeah, that's my little rant of the Royal Rumble. Anyway, and the title match was crazy. But let's get to this video. So before I start, like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification. Go ahead, join the squad, y'all. I'm trying to get up to 1K, so I'm on the way to 1K. Go ahead and do it for me. That said, let's go ahead and get to this video. Is this on?
Wrestlers will usually have spots planned out for their match, but if
Ooh,
anything gets
man, that
forgotten,
spot was so
stuff can get lost or
nasty.
break down entirely.
Go to punch him, steps behind him. I gotta punch, but he's got to duck the punch. And, it's Steph, and like he can see me rearing up, but he's just looking at me like I know he is not ducking. I grab him by the neck and I pull him.
Did he? Oh, I'm gonna say,
There
did
will
he
be
pull his
different
head?
matches where this occurred, and we'll also highlight matches that featured missed cues and late timing.
So the finish was supposed to be the second rock bottom, and Earl thought the second one was the first. The Rock was pissed. He
That's
picked me
so
up, rock
bad.
bottomed me, and told Earl, count the motherfucking finish.
I like refs who start saying it like, well, they'll be like, you do your count. The wrestler, it's their responsibility to do the rest, because you don't do the count, it makes it look terrible like that, you know. And I know that that's happened before. Like some people have did the count and it was like match over. I can't do nothing about that. You messed up. I'm not finna get in trouble. I feel it, man. So you gotta do the count.
As we highlight 30 moments where WWE wrestlers forgot their spot.
I go over and I'm choking my brother, right? Man, this motherfucker forgot everything. I got my face up close to him, like I'm choking him. I'm laughing my ass off.
The SummerSlam 1998 match between The Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin,
Ooh, is this when he knocked him out?
had WrestleMania levels of hype surrounding it. But things went awry after Stone Cold got confused after colliding heads with the
That was
Phenom.
nasty, man.
Oh, Undertaker lowered the head.
He just flashed me, but I was out.
From that point on,
Yeah,
Steve
he
couldn't remember the rest
right
of the
on the
match.
I was
button.
laying on my back looking up at Earl in the lights, and I said, where am I? Earl started laughing. It was on pay-per-view.
Taker has said that the famous leg drop on the announce table was something
Such an
he planned,
agile
but would
big
only
guy.
do so if he and Austin felt the match needed it. So
I remember when
given
he was
how
on,
the
like,
concussion threw a
the
big
Indies or
spanner
whatever
in
you
the
wanna call it
works,
back in the
two
day.
men deemed it
He
necessary
used to be
to
doing
bust
some
out their leg drop
high-flying
through the
stuff.
table, since the match hadn't gone as smoothly as they'd hoped.
I damn near knocked Steve out that night.
Man.
Inadvertently, of all things.
Austin
You know,
has
my
had
head
some
hit
raw
right in the
deals,
chin.
boy.
His eyes rolled like a slot machine, and it took a few minutes to get, to get Steve back with us.
Matches not going smoothly is something
Oh my
Ahmed
God,
Johnson was
Ahmed
more than
Johnson.
used to.
Look out, here comes Ahmed. Over the top.
Ooh.
Especially once he started appearing for WCW in 2000.
I might say
One of
I'm
his worst
gonna
matches
moke 'em.
took place at that
If you
year's
know,
Super
you know,
Bowl,
I'm
where
gonna
Ahmed
moke
battled
'em.
Booker T for the naming rights to Harlem Heat. Johnson, going by the name Big T, completely forgot what had been planned, forcing Booker to pick
That
up
was
the
the
pieces,
worst Pearl
while
River
Stevie
plunge
Ray
ever.
tried not to laugh on the outside.
Stevie over there like, oh my God.
As Booker T is helpless in his arms right now. Booker.
I remember my
What is he
brother,
doing?
Ahmed going over the match in the back over and over and over again. He went to shoot my brother in on a reversal, or my brother shot him in on a reverse and just held it. I go over and I'm choking my brother, right? My brother said, man, this motherfucker forgot everything. I got my face up close to him, like I'm choking him. I'm laughing my ass off.
Stevie Ray did nothing to help his brother or tag partner in that last
I'd have been
entry.
crying
The
in the
next we have a wrestler
ring,
who forgot
boy.
part of a spot only to be saved by their partner. It happened on the Sunday Night Heat pre-show to WrestleMania 18, where Lance Storm teamed with Mr.
Lions.
Perfect to take on a team featuring Rikishi. During his entrance, Mr. Perfect placed a towel in the left corner, which was important because the towel was to play a role in a big spot planned later. Perfect was supposed to use it to
I like how it landed right on his shoulder.
The problem, as as revealed by Lance Storm, was that they set up the move in the wrong corner relative to where the towel was. This meant Lance had to quickly
Terrible.
retrieve the towel and hand it to Perfect so he had it in time to block
Terrible.
Rikishi's stink face.
When his butt starts beeping, he's back with it.
Dude, there are a lot of things that I would not do, and that's one of them. I would not have been able to take the stink face or Viscera's when he lay you down on your stomach and he's humping your back. Those are two things I just wouldn't have been able to do. I'd be like, hey, boss, y'all got to cut me from tonight or something. Because I ain't doing it. I'm just saying I ain't doing it.
In the moments we've shown so far, you might not have realized something went wrong unless we
Muhammad.
pointed it out. But anyone watching Muhammad Hassan's match with Chris Benoit from the February 28, 2005 Monday Night Raw would have realized the finish got completely messed up. Hassan was meant to hit Benoit with the ring bell as Chris came down with the headbutt. This would have presumably given Hassan, who was undefeated at the time, the victory. The problem was Hassan forgot to turn over in time, meaning the Rabid Wolverine simply hit his opponent with a regular diving headbutt, only for Chris to sell as if he actually got hit with a bell like was planned.
Look out! Oh, Benoit's head! Trevor, did he get him?
Benoit, perhaps realizing how stupid this looks, kicked out of the subsequent cover at 1. He then told Hassan to low blow him, allowing the match to end in a disqualification.
What's wrong about that?
Terrible.
Benoit's head hitting that bill, and that was a low blow.
Sticking with
You gotta
Benoit
move on
now
the fly.
for a rather morbid example, as towards the end of his life, Chris struggled with memory issues. He made sure to always ride with a travel partner and chose to call all his matches in the ring. This is because he
Boy,
had
Elijah
difficulties
Burke is another
remembering
person that could have
directions
been a
and spots
killer.
due to all the head trauma he'd received in his...
Poor choice of words right there. I meant like he could have been so great if they would have gave him more shine that he, than they gave him. They only let him really get on like ECW like that. But like when he was De Niro and TNA, man, he was good. Even when he was Elijah Burke, he was doing this stuff on ECW. He was still good. But they never gave him a shine like that.
his career.
They
Some
should
of
have.
Benoit's final opponents, Kevin Thorne and
Thorne.
MVP, have spoken publicly about Chris's memory troubles at the end.
He couldn't remember a match. He just wanted to call it all out there because he couldn't remember it. Mentally, he couldn't do it, knowing the way that he was at the restaurant. And he asked what I was going to order, and he ordered the exact same thing because he like the menu just wasn't there for him.
I also remember lots of times when Chris and I were in the ring and he would completely black out. He couldn't remember things, and it would happen all the time.
During that period, Benoit would have also been reliant on referees giving him information. For most of his run, Earl Hebner was the WWE's most senior ref, but he still had some screw-ups from time to time, such as the June 2nd, 2003 main event of Monday Night Raw. Triple H looked to have pedigreed the Hurricane to finish the match, allowing Randy Orton to make the cover, but Hebner didn't count the 3, likely forgetting this was the finish.
And Orton's hooked the leg.
See, that's what I mean, man.
Shoulder up. Come on, ref.
That's what I mean.
Earl tried to make it look like Hurricane got the shoulder up, despite clearly not doing so.
Did he get the win or what?
You gotta do it. See, that's how you mess up stuff, man.
That call was.
Realizing he'd made a mistake, Hebner simply called for the bell as the crowd watched on in confusion, eventually starting a BS chant. Meanwhile, JR and King lambasted Earl's decision on commentary, as the show's
Terrible.
ending fell flat due to the botch.
That was a bad call or an indecisive call. We got to call it like it is. And the crowd doesn't like it.
Hebner effed up even worse 2 years prior
Oh, I
to
remember
Rock
that.
and Kurt Angle's WWF title match at No Way Out 2001. This time, Earl claimed that Angle kicked out of the rock bottom. The television audience didn't have the best view of Kurt's shoulders, but that didn't matter because the fans'
The
reaction
fans
told
who
the
are
whole
sitting
story.
right there saw it all.
What happened?
Hebner
Just
had
gotta
forgotten the order
do
of rock
the
bottoms
count.
since a previous one had already led to a near fall. So with Earl acting as
Nicholas.
if Angle had got the shoulder up here, it meant the Great One had to hit a third and final rock bottom to finish the match and
He
win
said,
the
"Do the
WWF
fucking count."
Championship.
So the finish was supposed to be the second rock bottom, and Earl thought the second one was the first. The Rock was pissed. He picked me up, rock bottomed me, and told Earl, count the motherfucking finish.
A referee as tenured as Earl Hebner probably wouldn't lose their job over a forgotten botched spot, but a younger ref might, especially if it's their first night on the job in WWE. This was soon what happened to Wes Adams on the August 12, 2008 edition of ECW, as he refereed only his second match for the company in the tag team main event. The sad part is, it wasn't even Wes that forgot his spot, it was The Miz. Miz failed to break up the pin as Matt Hardy pinned John Morrison for the count of 3. The young
Slow-mo.
referee simply counted the fall because Morrison never kicked out.
Mark Henry calls for the tag, but instead, he goes for the cover.
That's what I mean. The ref he has to do his job. It's not his fault. Why would he get punished for that? He made sure the match didn't look like trash. That's what I be saying, man. And then, of course, they fire him for doing his job properly. Ain't that some stupid shit, man?
That's it.
defeats the Miz and Morrison.
Shortly after this happened, refs were instructed by Vince McMahon to count as if it were a shoot. If the talent didn't kick out, it was on them. But unfortunately for Adams, he was made a scapegoat following the incident as he was fired a week later.
I'd been trained to make judgment calls in the ring. I made one, and apparently they weren't happy with it. And you know, I got fired.
Smoking
Vince
Joe
was a
Frazier
bitch. That's what it was.
Inexperienced as a pro wrestling referee. The boxing legend acted as the special guest ref for Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes' clash at Starrcade '84.
For Dusty Rhodes and the other guy.
$1 million. The match was meant to be a lengthy bloodbath, where Dusty would lose due to a referee stoppage on account of excess blood loss. The issue was Joe called the bout off far too early, with the American Dream still on his feet, ready to go. The anticlimactic finish resulted in a sour end to such a high-stakes match on a huge show.
He should have let that go a little bit longer.
What's happening here?
He can't even open his eye. Trash.
Smoking Joe Frazier. He has stopped it.
But you were known for having really long matches. This one only goes 12 minutes.
It went because of Joe.
Okay.
He messed it up.
I got you.
You know, something he wasn't that familiar with, and he just made a mistake. If you look back on it, he called the match too early, way too early. He just panicked, not knowing what he was doing.
Our next botch also occurred on a big show due to inexperience from China, who
China
by August
before.
of 1997 had been in the WWF for a few months. China often interfered in matches on behalf of the wrestlers she accompanied, so it was important for her to remember where she needed to be and when it was time to intervene. This didn't always happen though, like at the 1997 SummerSlam. China was to pull Triple H out the cage door while Mankind
Man, I miss
climbed to the
those
top.
days,
The ninth
man.
wonder of the world, remember.
If I could wipe my memory completely clear of the entire Attitude Era, WCW and WWF, I would completely wipe my mind and remind myself to go watch those. And I mean, I will watch it back and forth, episode for episode, WCW, WWF. Matter of fact, I would probably put them both on the same channel. I mean, both on like different monitors, and just watch both of them and see what's going on with both of them, just so I don't have to watch, 4 hours straight. Because my God, man, it was so much better back in the day. There was, when we look at the in-ring, there are a lot better in-ring competitors, I'll say, nowadays. Because at the time, it was story, it was characters, it was just the whole vibe of the 90s that made the whole thing good. Like the NWO changed the game, then DX came in as well, they did their thing, Austin, Hart, all these people. It's just, every week you just was like, what's about to happen? What's about to happen? Yeah, it was a lot of, like, when you actually go back and watch stuff, you see it was a lot of bull too. You be like, this is trash. But it was like the mid card was just like on fire, especially people like D-Lo. D-Lo is an unsung hero of the Attitude Era. People, when they talk about that, they talk about, those top guys, but they don't bring up D-Lo as much as they should. D-Lo was a dog back in the day. They need to bring him up more often. But man, if I could just, and all my memory of Attitude Era is gone, I would be right here like a damn kid again, and I'd be sitting here watching both of them like, and I wonder what it would be like as an adult watching it for the first time versus as a kid, because you're a teenager, all that stuff was like, oh, but as an adult, how would I feel about that? I don't know. Let me know what y'all think though, but I wish I could just wipe certain things from my memory just so I can go back and relive them. Just let me know.
But her spot but came in too early, meaning she had to leave the ring and come back later. This is because she forgot Mankind was to jump off the cage first before then climbing back up to try and exit.
She's trying to drag Helmsley.
Once the hardcore legend
Terrible.
hit the elbow drop, the match then went off as planned.
China's pulling Helmsley. Helmsley closer to the door. And
China
Mankind
missed
still
you
got
again
out.
a year later at the 1998 King of the Ring. Here she was to help
And
out
she was on
fellow
her Tama
DX
Tonga.
members, the New Age Outlaws. After Jim
My bad,
Cornette
Tonga
appeared
Loa.
on behalf of the Outlaws' opponents, the New Midnight Express. Jim stood there threatening to hit Billy Gunn with the tag title belt for what seemed like an eternity. China stood on the other side of the ring until realizing where she needed to be. China then ran around
Oh my
ringside to run in
God.
and finally
I know
hit a low
another
blow
botch
on
that's about to be in this.
Having to wait in the ring forever so she could remember on live pay-per-view that she was supposed to be behind me, hitting me in the nuts when I'm looking at her from across the fucking ring and she's clueless.
I feel like Mark with the and now we see China after.
Things began to break
But I
down
feel like
during
Mark
the
with
sloppy trouble threat
the
match, also featuring Chris
the cage,
Jericho
and he had to
Hardcore
snatch the chain
Holly.
off.
While on the
I
outside
feel like
of
that's gonna be
China,
in this.
unsure of what to do next, Holly reminded the two wrestlers to do a double splash spot, where Jericho and China would both come off the top at the same time and hit Hardcore. This is not what ended up happening, as both landed at the wrong time and came down with very little impact.
Holly lying most of this on the canvas. Look at this. Oh!
Terrible.
Both Holly's pinned.
As we've seen, multi-person matches require more planning, so if the talent botch or go blank, it can be harder to change things up on the fly.
Oh, that was horrible.
Plus, it might be more noticeable. At the 1998 WCW Road Wild event, Perry Saturn,
Road
Chris
Wild
Kanyon,
was
and
crazy,
Raven
man. I used
battled
to
in a
love
three-way.
those.
Midway through the match, all three men were down. Here we can visibly see each man communicating to one another as they regroup and get back on track for the
That
finish.
DVD, boy.
I wish I was in there. I'd give up. I wish you were in there right now.
The Road Wild 3-way.
Hey, but they pulled it off
the
though.
triple
Like,
threat main event of SummerSlam 2000 certainly was. In no small part thanks to the concussion Kurt Angle received after being pedigreed by Triple H on the announce table, which gave way too early.
oh yeah, I remember that.
The head injury
No
meant Kurt
protection.
couldn't remember anything that was planned. Angle had to be guided through the rest of the match by his opponents, the referee, and Stephanie McMahon.
I was just remembering whatever she told me. Then she looked at me and said, pull him out. So I pulled him out. She looked at me again and said, throw him into the steps.
Your hero sadly suffered a horrible concussion.
The table gave too early. My head hit the concrete floor.
Oh, God. Oh,
my hand was behind my back. I was on Loopy Street. Look, I start trying to get up, and Hunter's going to pull me back down. There was no way that I could remember that whole entire match in my condition. And it's amazing how well they covered up for me.
I got to go to punch and
Hey,
Steph
man.
behind him. I got to punch, but he's got to duck the punch. And I want to hit Steph, and like he can see me rearing up, but he's just looking at me like I know he's not ducking. I grabbed him by the neck.
Loopy as hell.
Another wrestler who forgot everything after suffering a concussion was Bubba Ray Dudley during the Raw Roulette TLC match on October 7, 2002. Bubba got spiked on his head following a bulldog off the ladder from Chris Jericho.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Years
he just
later, Bubba
laid
and
there.
Chris discussed the match on the Talk is Jericho podcast.
It's crazy how you go on autopilot. You told me to go take the Van Daminator.
Yeah.
And I said, from who? And then you told me to go up and do the Bubba Bomb, and I said, how?
Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley's Get the Tables line
That's
has become
crazy,
an iconic
man.
catchphrase in wrestling.
Hey, I don't care what nobody say. Like, no matter who the wrestler is, you gotta get them their level of respect, man, because they go out there and do crazy stuff just to entertain us. Like, Joey Mercury's spot will always live rent free in my mind, and I will always give him his praise because that man was out there. He got his whole face broken, had to get surgery, and he came right back. Stitches still all in his face and everything. The audience gave him his just due too, man. But yeah, that was a crazy moment. Get the table!
But it all began because Devon legitimately forgot to get the tables in the match, prompting Bubba to remind his brother to do so. And from then on, the phrase stuck and got over huge with the fans.
There was only one time that ever happened when I forgot to get the table. I went, Devon, get the table. And it just caught on. To this day, everywhere we go, it's Devon, get the table. All because I forgot the spot.
Get the table!
Who's going to go through the table? There's something here!
The Dudley Boys' opponent was the one who went blank in this next example. It was during an 8-man tag team tables match on the February 8, 2016 edition of Raw. Big E was supposed to take a 3D through a table from the Dudleys following an enziguri from Jimmy Uso. E, however,
But he
rolled
fell
out
out
the
the
ring,
ring,
forcing
yeah.
Bubba to call him back in so they could carry out the finish.
Boom guy!
Big E's iconic New Day teammate Kofi Kingston was involved in one of the most infamous forgotten spot moments.
Yeah.
And that's because of the response it drew from a furious Randy Orton. Orton and Kingston's feud was set to end in a match on the January 11, 2010 Raw, with Randy punt-kicking Kofi in the head. Kingston instead began to feed for the RKO, so the Viper had to switch gears and hit this move instead to win the match. Randy chewed out Kofi for not getting in position for the punt, angrily calling him stupid.
One of the most bitch-ass moments, in my opinion, was what happened with this whole situation. One time he messed up, and you bitch and moan about it like that, do all this stupid shit. You in the back talking about he ain't ready and all this. Most bitch-ass moment. Of course, you had Flair and Hunter and all them on your back to make sure you did everything right. But, you know, that was just, to this day, I'm not a fan of Orton. You do certain things I don't like, I'm just not a fan of yours anymore. Not a fan of, I haven't been a fan of Orton's since that rivalry. It's just a bitch ass moment of his.
Twice.
Goes for the RKO, connects. Kofi Kingston, jaw and face.
And like
this was the end of King.
I get it. He missed his spot, but one time, you could have said something to him But when you went up to grab him for the next RKO is stay down for the punt. And he could have stayed down for the punt.
Since push, and he wouldn't feud with the main eventer again until 2019.
You think that I used my influence?
You did.
To hold you back. You're damn right I did.
Kofi's push in 2019 was brutally ended by Brock Lesnar.
Quickly with Kofi Kingston by Lesnar. There's the cover. We got a new champion.
Lesnar
I ain't even gonna say nothing.
likes to work on his own.
That was another moment that I really didn't like.
And what he wants to do in the ring.
I don't think I watched wrestling for the rest of that year of WWE.
2017, it appeared as though Brock was meant to lock in the Kimura as soon as he kicked out of a spine buster.
Just like that. Spine buster to Lesnar. Cover to the champion. Almost had him.
Do the Kimura, nigga.
The Beast, however, continued to lay on the mat while Braun waited to be put in the submission. Lesnar either forgot he was supposed to immediately transition into the Kimura lock, or simply decided he didn't want to do it. Either way, Strowman remained
Should he get knocked down the ladder for that? No.
For a long time on Strowman. He made for the ropes, forced the break, got back to his feet, delivered a spine buster.
2 years later, it was Braun that missed his cue during the Andre the Giant Battle Royal at WrestleMania 35. Strowman was booked to eliminate Luke Harper and Mustafa Ali, who were performing a suplex spot on the apron. Harper can be seen calling for Braun, who initially didn't respond.
Rest in peace, Harps, man.
This is a statement of dominance right now by Strowman.
Eventually, they repeat the spot, and Strowman is there. This time, though, he nearly causes an injury, as Harper and Ali crash and burn to the outside.
That was you just look at that spot and you like, oh my God, if he didn't get over a little more, but then he hit his face on the table and stuff. It was just nasty.
One of the biggest botches in WrestleMania history was Papa Shango's late interference during the final pin in the main event between Hulk Hogan and Psycho Sid at Mania 8. This botch forced Sid to kick out of Hogan's signature leg drop, becoming the first wrestler in WWF to do so, as the match ended in an awkward disqualification. For many years, fans believe Papa Shango missed his cue, but this is not the case, as Shango got a late cue from those in the gorilla position, meaning it was whoever directed Shango that botched and missed that cue.
I'm sitting there like a track star waiting to go, and then all of a sudden he goes, oh, go, go, go. They gave me a late cue.
Another missed or botched cue that ruined the finish of a match took place at In Your House Mind Games in 1997. Mankind and Shawn Michaels just
God, I remember that.
5-star classic
That man was stuck in that damn rope.
Run down and interrupt the final pin, leading to a disqualification.
Sweet Chin music.
Vader either got a late cue or was just too slow getting to the ring, because Michaels had to abandon the cover to start brawling with the Mastodon. However, Vader hadn't got a shot in yet before the bell rang for the DQ, so the finish didn't really make sense in the end.
Wow.
1 year prior to Mind Games, Vader worked Shawn in the main event.
I'm gonna say Shawn was a bitch for this
is best remembered for HBK going ballistic at Vader for failing to move out of the way of an elbow drop from the top rope. An enraged Michaels reacted by stomping on Vader's head and cussing him out for not moving.
Now, had Vader responded and beat the dog shot at his punk ass, it would have been talking about a whole different story right now, because according to the people in the back, Vader is a motherfucking heavy hitter, and he would have hurt him. How Mark said he was gonna hurt them. You know what I mean? Shawn was a bitch back in the day too. I really wish Vader would have got up and beat the dog shit out of him.
This was peak petulant child, Tampa throwing 90s Shawn. Jim Cornette said it best.
Yeah, it couldn't have been me. I'd have fucked him up and went to WCW.
But outside, he's an adolescent, obnoxious jerk who takes his tights and goes home if he doesn't get his way.
If you found God, that's generally because I've noticed people in this business that find God do so when everybody else hates him so bad they won't speak to him.
Vader was one of the numerous big men WWE missed the boat with. The jury is still out on whether Omos will be added to the list of names. One of his most notable botches
tag champ in Japan right now.
Began working as a single star in WWE. At the start of matches, the Nigerian giant would do a height measuring gesture between him and his smaller opponent.
You're not that tall.
It's like face to face. It's like face to...
However, on the January 10th, 2022 Raw, a still green and inexperienced Omos remembered his spot but wasn't sure when to do it, so he asked the referee for assistance.
Back it up and wait for the bill. Yeah. Listen, guys, I'm going to be...
One of Omos' most noteworthy feuds was against Bobby Lashley. Like Omos, Bobby also got
should I do the hype
during
thing?
a spot on Raw during that awful 2019 to 2022 time period.
I missed that little thing.
After Lashley won a 6-man
point to the
tag
ass thing was stupid, but other than
episode
that,
of Raw, Bobby, along with teammates Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre, beat down one of their opponents, Kurt Angle. During the melee, both Corbin and Drew kept misdirecting Lashley as to where to go,
he was just like
Angle with the steps. This resulted in the Almighty pacing back and forth in confusion.
That was so stupid too, man.
got directing traffic.
Bobby previously missed
It wasn't that bad, but it was so stupid too. It was like,
October 16, 2018. Lashley teamed with Mickie James to take on the team of Bobby Roode and Natalya. Bobby was late coming in to interrupt Mickie and Natalya arguing, which forced Roode to yell out,
"Man, Mickey's so
his
fine."
opponent's name multiple times until Lashley finally intervened.
Almost looking.
The six-man
He's like Bobby,
tables match
motherfucker.
was a hot start to the 2002 Survivor Series pay-per-view, though there was one significant push when Rico was standing on the top rope waiting for Jeff Hardy to cut him off. Rico was there for so long, almost 15 seconds in total. He pretended to lose his balance before audibly yelling out for Jeff, who was down selling on the floor. Then at last Hardy shook the ropes to crush Rico on the turnbuckle.
What is shaking that rope gonna do?
That match was infamous because Jeff was late to push you. Talk us
Oh,
through
is that what you yelled out, Jeff? God damn it! Yes.
God damn it.
Yeah, that's Rico.
Yes.
Hey.
Survivor Series
My-
1998 also had a memorable botch. It went down during Stone Cold Steve Austin's match with Mankind. The Big Boss Man was to run in and cost Austin the match courtesy of a chair shot to the head. The Boss Man wasn't there since he was in the back talking to The Undertaker.
I can't believe it. What are we seeing?
I can't believe it.
There's no. Well, there is a rope break.
Therefore, the higher-ups sent Gerald Briscoe down to screw Steve, which may have been the first time Briscoe ever swung a chair in his life.
Come on, Briscoe.
The Texas Rattlesnake was mad as a hornet when he got backstage, cussing up a storm and chewing Bossman out for missing his cue. Not to mention the awful chair shot Steve had to sell for.
He missed his fucking cue. He was in the dressing room talking to the
It wasn't
Undertaker.
as
And
bad
I
as it
love Ray Traylor to
is the
death,
same,
God
but
rest
yeah,
his
that
soul,
was.
but I cussed that motherfucker up and down and just lit into his ass.
British Bulldog didn't just forget one spot at SummerSlam 92, he forgot the entire match. That's because he was up all night smoking crack with Jim Neidhart. Quite the preparation for the biggest match of your career, main eventing the biggest show in UK history.
There were 80,000 tickets in less than 11 hours, and that broke the British Telecom phone.
His opponent on the night, Bret Hart, guided Bulldog through the entire match, which is saying something given how incapacitated the Bulldog was, given how incredible the contest ended up being.
The first 30 seconds.
That was a good match, man. And you wouldn't even guess that it was that bad. Like he was in that bad of a
Bulldog,
position.
unfortunately, sat home all summer.
Promos terrible.
Partied a lot. Didn't train, and showed up in Wembley kind of overweight, out of shape, and totally paranoid, and nervous.
And I know Davey, had some drug problems and issues at the time, and he was not as prepared for that match. But I don't want anyone to ever think that that Davey didn't give 100% in that match.
The final moments of the 2018 Royal Rumble match.
So, want to say one thing. I don't feel like Bret Hart gets the appreciation he deserves as a talker. Because most people think of it like how Neidhart would do most of the talking when they were a tag team. But when he was his heel, he was like, well, heel against America. The rest of the world he was cool with, but heel against America, like when he was going against, Stone Cold, the Union, all that kind of stuff, DX, he was good. He'd go out there and run a promo anytime, and he was good. Was he The Rock? Of course not. He's not that kind of guy. But Bret was really good on the mic, but people don't give him those props at all. They still think of back in the 80s when he gave trash promos, but y'all don't think of his heyday when he had way better promos. I'm just saying.
Match is remembered for John Cena screaming at the top of his lungs for Shinsuke Nakamura. This is because Nakamura and Finn Balor were to attack Cena during a standoff with Roman Reigns. John and Roman stared each other down for ages, prompting Cena to scream Shinsuke's name. Balor and Nakamura could have missed their cue here since the stare down lasted forever. Cena could have also called an audible to make the two come in early since the fans were raining down boos and you both suck chants to Cena and Roman.
That WrestleMania moment once again. Of the WWE fans here in Philadelphia.
Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero's rivalry in 2005 was one of the best ever of their respective careers. However, during their infamous SummerSlam 2005 custody of Dominic ladder match, there was a spot that didn't quite go to plan. Near the end of the match, Guerrero had Mysterio trapped underneath the ladder while taunting Rey as he was inches away from winning. Eddie's wife Vicky was supposed to run down the ring and push her husband up the ladder. This didn't happen, however. Vicky missed her cue and Eddie was awkwardly standing on the top of the ladder, holding the briefcase and struggling to unhook it, very obviously stalling time.
That man was
With
so
Vicky nowhere to
pissed
be
off
found,
about that.
Guerrero and Mysterio had to improvise. Guerrero falls to the mat frustrated, and he screams, "Where the fuck was Vicky?
Right.
God damn it." The two luchadors then improvised some more before Eddie Guerrero delivered his signature Three Amigos and attempted the spot once again.
finally
This time,
came
Vicky
out.
shows up and pushes Eddie up the ladder. Rey Mysterio then climbs and wins the match and custody of his son Dominic. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our similar
Custody of
video
Dominic
10
match.
WWE wrestlers who destroyed their career with one mistake. Hope you have
The good old days. I miss Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era. I miss both of them. Anyway, though, man, great video. Fire stuff, man. A lot of these I still remembered. A lot of them I forgot about, you know. But wrestling, man. What can I say? Anyway, thank you all for watching. Appreciate y'all who have come by, you know, left comments, liked the videos, you know, getting the views up. I greatly appreciate it. You know, like I said, on my way to 1K. So, hey, just run the numbers up for me, man. I appreciate it. I'm be dropping a whole lot of stuff for you all. I'm also about to start playing Def Jam Fight for New York again. I haven't played that game in probably nearly 20 years. You know, when did that game come out? It's been nearly 20 years or something that game came out. I just checked and it's 20 years as of September last year. It came out in 2004. Man, that's a long time. So yeah, I haven't played that game in forever. I feel like I might have like played a match or two with one of the guys like 10 years or something like that ago. But yeah, I haven't really played that game in a long time. So I'm gonna get back into that. I'm gonna be definitely putting that on the channel. Let me know if that's something y'all like, you know. Even if you don't like, I'm playing some Def Jam Vendetta. I'm definitely gonna get on 2K25 when it comes out as well. Hey, check that trailer out. You go check that trailer out. Anyway, that's gonna be that for this, man. Chaos out.